McGlinchey is like playing at like an all-time low in confidence, it seems. I mean, Joe Staley pointed it out. He can't stop a bull rush. If you get in his chest, you can knock him on his back, and it looks bad. It is bad. So I think the Rams. Oh yeah, three days ago on KMBR, he's like, look, Mike McGlinchey's my friend, but he needs to be honest with himself. He was very specific. He's like, Mike is he needs to be critical with himself. He can't just go into practice and be focused on being perfect in practice. You actually have to go out and work on your weaknesses. Don't just be like, I had a perfect practice. Be like, no, I worked on my weaknesses today and got a little bit better. And I think what he's saying is he's doesn't acknowledge criticism. He's not honest with himself about his weaknesses, and that's why he keeps getting trucked by bull rushes. I think that's what Staley's saying.
I think part of the issue, he's just so tall, and we all know low man wins, and I feel like guys are just getting under his leverage, kind of standing him up, and then he's like losing all power in his legs, and then he gets pushed over or trips up, whatever it is. But he's getting bull rushed back into the quarterback. But part of it, when you start talking about him taking like constructive criticism, he talked about how it almost sounded like he went to a state of depression because of fans getting on him about his play. Right. So
like you need to be your toughest critic, man. Like I say you're not good.
Hella soft. You know what I'm saying? And it just is what it is. Like that's like there are, we look at our kids and things like that, and it's like, oh, my kid might be a little soft. Like that's just them. And I think that might be the case with McGlinchey, where it's just like he's just a little, he's a cat.
Look,
not a dog.
Crocker was in the league, so he can say that. I'm never calling NFL players soft because I played tackle football one time. It was in 7th grade. It was at not recess. It was at lunch at Montero Middle School, and the security guards would let the kids play football because they like to watch it. So I caught a ball in the flat, turned around, got stuck, walked off the field. Everyone laughed at me. I was like, I don't care. I'm soft. That was it.
Okay, yeah, Grant.
That was it.
But if you were, 6'8", 6'9", 300 pounds your whole life, it's a little easier to give off the illusion that you're not soft. And you go to Notre Dame and it's like, well, I'm good. But even then, he had one issue. Wasn't a great pass protector at Notre Dame. That was the issue.
Played next to Quentin Nelson. Played next to some really good players.
So you can hide it until you can't hide it. At some point, it'll come out that it's just mentally, you're just not. See, I gotta be careful with my words because now
that's true. That's true. That's true. That's true.
But there's something there that's making it harder for him to be real with himself.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Joe Staley said. It was very interesting. Joe Staley knows McGlinchey much better than me. And just a second, one thing you've ever noticed, if I criticize someone that Joe played with that he respects, he will tweet at me and say, stop, Grant. Like there was last year there was some people wanted the Niners to sign Frank Gore just at the end. And I was like, no. And I kept tweeting about, and he was like, dude, enough. It's Frank Gore. Leave him alone. If I say stuff about McGlinchey, Joe Staley isn't telling me to stop. I mean, I think from Joe's perspective, like, no, McGlinchey needs to hear this. And if he can't acknowledge it, he's never going to have the career Joe had. He's not going to have the career Trent Williams had. I mean, frankly, I'm not sure that Mike McGlinchey is a starting offensive lineman in the NFL. He's not playing like one right now. So he's at a crossroads right now. John says, Ayuk is going through a range of emotions, spends the past 2 years training with Lance just to lose him early. I believe he as well won't be here long. Well, they have him under team control for the next 2 years, but he doesn't seem like a happy camper at all.
He's finally starting to get the targets I think he deserves. 11 targets each of the last 2 games. So, that's trending in the right direction. His production is up. And even if you're losing, not saying, you always want to say the right thing. Like, I'd rather catch one ball and win than catch 11 passes and lose. But really, it's like, I'm saying, give me these 11 catches. Give me these 11 targets. So, I think that should help his spirits just a little bit, being more productive over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, but it's like earlier in the season, him and Kittle weren't getting targets. They were running the ball and winning sometimes. Now, the last 2 games, they've thrown a lot more than they've run. Ayuk and Kittle have gotten their targets. They've lost, and Ayuk and Kittle are like pointing fingers. It's like very interesting. So is Kyle all of a sudden calling all these passes to appease Kittle and Ayuk, who are the 2 upset guys in the it's a very interesting. We really don't know what's going on. You were on a team. How much did the public really know about what was going on inside the locker room?
I kind of tuned out a little bit, especially like when I was with the Jets, because the Jets had a lot of different storylines going on. First, when I got there was Tim Tebow and his whole situation. True. And then I'm like, why do they talk about Tebow every? Because when you see him on the team, it's like it's just some guy, you know. But like the way they talk about him in the media, it's like, why do they talk about Tebow every day? Like we don't even. And then Darrelle Revis was holding out. Then Darrelle Revis came back. Then they traded Darrelle Revis, and then
well, they had you. They didn't need Revis anymore.
Geno Smith. Well, they drafted D. Miller in their ninth overall. Okay. But then they draft Geno Smith. So then he comes in, and remember we have Mark Sanchez. So then there's like this quarterback competition thing.
Oh, that's funny.
And but I don't know. It didn't feel like anyone fed into anything that the media was saying during that time.
Fair. What you talk about, Willis, is honestly...
You have to focus so much. And again, it's different now, though. That is one thing I will say. Yeah. My time when I was we're talking about 2013. Twitter was just starting to really, people were on Twitter, of course, but it wasn't nearly as far as people being critical of your play, doing film breakdowns, showing plays. They weren't doing that on Twitter then. So it could have also been a little bit easier to block out the noise because maybe somebody said something, but whatever. But now it's like they'll show videos of you getting knocked on your ass. That might be a little harder to see.
What you talking about, Willis says, honestly, what the hell happened to the jet sweeps, banana hands? Does he not believe in the personnel? It almost felt like Andy Reid was trolling the Niners. Like, remember these plays that you used to do? Let me show you how it's done. Well, how do you forget about those plays? Especially since, remember that opening script in Chicago? It was jet sweep, end around, gadget play. It's all gone now.
Well, you talked about it, man, and maybe it is as simple as they had something that they felt would be able to grow with Trey Lance, and when you lose him, it's like then we got to scrap a lot of these different things that we have planned and that we have been working on all offseason.
I think they scrapped a little too much. Josh Wyatt says, question for Crocker, is there something the Niners do to generate more turnovers? That might be the only way to turn the season around.
Pressure. Pressure is the biggest way to get turnover. I mean, so the more pressure you get, the more opportunities you'll get for takeaways.
Yeah, and I think what was working for the Niners earlier is they had a great combination for the first time in years of pressure and press man coverage, where they were taking away the quick throws, forcing the quarterback to hold it a little bit longer, and that was leading to coverage sacks and turnovers. But now they're back to playing soft, off coverage, zone coverage, because D'Amico doesn't trust his cornerbacks, which he has a point. But I mean that now you're back to playing good, not even good defense. You know, you have this pass rush that gets negated. 1 sack last week. Because everything's available. I mean, they gave up 13 of 14 completions to Marcus Mariota, man. As long as they're going to play off like this, it's not going to be a great pass defense. They're going to struggle on third and long.
I haven't been a fan of that, especially with Javarius Ward. Like, he's not somebody that went off in space having to turn and run on vertically pushing passes. Like, I want Ward lined up at the line of scrimmage. If we're in man, be pressed up. If we're in zone, you could press bail out, but at least you're still close to a guy throughout a route. And instead of having to like be 8 yards off, 9 yards off, having to backpedal, turn and run, and it's just harder for longer defensive backs like that to really transition into their turn and run and still keep that speed.
I agree. So I'm a little nervous about this defense. I'm actually very concerned about this defense. If you look at it, D'Amico doesn't have confidence in his corners. He's playing soft coverage, which he wasn't playing earlier. That's not good. Armstead, Kinlaw, Greenlaw, and Al-Shaair currently injured. So the run defense is compromised. I mean, if you have a decent offense, which I'm not sure the Rams do. I'm not sure the Rams have a decent offense. But if you have one, everything's available, as we saw on Sunday. Not good. Anyway, D'Amico, we're helping. We're here to help. Should Kyle script first possession of each quarter? It's not that easy. You get like 5 seconds between quarters. He should script the first 40 plays and then go up-tempo in the third quarter. I like that idea. That's a good-ass idea. You need to save something for the third quarter. That's a good one. Go up tempo for the first time ever, Kyle. It's like he can't because he replaced Chip Kelly, and he's like, I can't validate Chip Kelly. Steve says, let me coach jet sweep reverse with Gray. MCM screens, tempo trips with BA, Gray Debo, play action with Debo in the backfield. Too many options. Yeah, there's so many options, and Kyle's like doing none of it. 12 Play says, why not just rerun the plays in the script that work? Oh, he's too smart to do that. You're not allowed. No, that's a great suggestion.
Counter or have some counters to the script, right? Where it's like, hey, early on this is going to be our script, and then maybe at some point we'll show it to them again, and then, in the third quarter we're going to counter a lot of things that we did early on.
McGlinchey in a fourth for Nick Foles. Is Nick Foles still in the league? Is he Nick Foles? I don't think anyone wants McGlinchey, man. I'm sorry.
I don't think anybody wants Nick Foles. Like, why would you trade?
Where is Nick
Nick
Foles?
Foles?
I don't know. Steve M says 54 got the dog out of BA, but where's the dog in 54? He's had 2 bad games in a row. Warner. But he's got no one around him.
Dropped that interception. That was weird. I don't even know who Mahomes was throwing the ball to.
Oh, yeah. It seemed like if he hadn't done that, it might have gone right to Talanoa too. But
I think sometimes you're probably, he was probably confused. Like, and he kind of half-ass reached behind him.
Yeah.
But
it's like, yeah, go for it.
He just,
Yeah.
That was weird.
Antonio says, I kind of feel we have to give the benefit of the doubt for D'Amico. He has a ton of injuries. Yeah, and he's only had 1 bad game so far this year. So I'm not calling him out. I'm trying to help him because this is a very important game. Brandon says, better all-in trade Christian McCaffrey or Robert Quinn to the Eagles. I think Quinn as Eagles get good pass rusher for a good D. I like CMC, but CB was needed more. What do you think?
I don't want to talk bad about
Sure.
the trade. We already discussed it, but I would say that a pass rusher in Philly will probably help them win more than a running back for the 49ers.
Yeah, and he was cheaper for them. Like, he's a 4th-round pick, probably to Serrano. Foles is in Indy.
And I only say that because the 49ers I think they have solid running backs. And I think when you get Elijah Mitchell back, if you were to tell me there's some combination of Elijah Mitchell and Jeff Wilson, I just think, like, that's definitely good enough to win with. Like, we know that. Like, you can win a lot of games with that type of combination. So that's just kind of my thoughts on that.
To me, Jeff Wilson's been one of their best players this year. Yes, he's fumbled twice, but he's really explosive. He's averaging more than 5 yards a carry. They have had him on the team for like 4 years, and they have tried so hard to replace him. If they had just embraced him and Mitchell and Mason, I think that'd be a really good trio, but it's not good enough for Kyle because none of them can line up in the slot. Like, the whole receiving ability for Christian McCaffrey is cool, but like, how much is a guy catching the ball at the line of scrimmage and behind it really gonna hurt you? I mean, it's nice, but look, here's another thing, another suggestion for Kyle: get the ball down the field to Christian McCaffrey. You're not gonna dink and dunk your way to the because Debo is the guy who can catch the slant and run through guys. He did it a lot to the Rams. They're soft. Christian McCaffrey runs around people. Get him the ball down the field. If you can't get the ball down the field, I think you're gonna lose this game, buddy. So we've seen the wheel routes to Tevin Coleman. Do it to Christian. I think that would be a good call.